Let me sit back here and relax a little bit. I'm through for the day, I guess, for working and just sitting back and relaxing and taking it easy until we can challenge ourselves again tomorrow. And we're trying to get some more work done out here at the Napa store. I'll see if anybody get in here and somebody wants to jump online. See what we can come up with here. Meantime, I'm gonna take a little break here. See if anybody will jump in here. Now we got a couple. We're got a couple jumping in here. See if we can chat a little bit. It's been a long day again today. Hey Tim. All right. How's everything sound on this? I'm using my iPad tonight on this one. I hope the volume's good. Hey Matt, how are you doing this afternoon? You were going to give me a buzz earlier this week. If you want to, give me a buzz later on. Did I finish everything? No, gosh, no. I hadn't finished everything, Brian. I worked on this window. We got like a great big two windows here, aluminum windows right behind me, and I framed it out on the outside, put 2-inch insulation on it, and then plywood, and then I'm gonna come back with metal on top of that. Yeah, that's why I'm sitting down. I, I'm tired, that's for sure. Okay, just give me a buzz anytime you want to, Matt. You've got my numbers, I think. Just give me a buzz when you're ready to talk, if you want to ask me a few questions and everything. I've been talking to JC this week. JC's been busy. He and I both have been real busy. I'm trying to get this store open by November 1st. My wife has been real good about painting. She's got most of the painting done, and she's done a fantastic job. I've had my friend Richard Curley over here doing the wiring, and we've got our internet and everything else, our camera system, all kinds of things wired up. I've got the CPI security that's going to be putting in the security system in a couple of days, and just challenges like that. I've got the guy that's getting ready to put the handicap parking. I got to stripe the parking lot and put that out front, and we got to put the post in the ground. That's one of the challenges. Yeah, I know what you mean, Matt. It's the old balls to the wall type situation on a lot of stuff. I've been busy. You know, at my shop we've got I've got one that we got a redo. We got yeah, I've been real busy. I've got a redo. I've had transmission troubles to beat the band lately. It's always seems like it comes in bunches for me. I've had several clutches and transmissions lately. We had one where we put a clutch in 2 weeks ago on one, and we're going to have to pull it back out because rear main seal's leaking. They put a new rear main seal, but evidently didn't get it in there just right, and it was slinging oil, so we had to bring it back in. That's gonna be a lot of time and money there. It won't be so much on parts, but labor. It's gonna be labor intensive, and we've had, like I said, challenges with transmissions. I'm having transmissions galore going out. It seems like, but that's what do you do? Just grin and bear it. Keep on digging. And I've got a couple of these new Cascadias that we're still working on. I've gone through them pretty good, and we've got them running pretty good. I'm pretty well pleased with them so far. But we challenge ourselves to do Yeah, that's what we've been doing. We've been making sure that all the leaks and everything around the. Uh, I actually took it into Clark Power. Clark Power is able to do a good bit of warranty work. Shoot, gosh, I bet they did $8,000 worth of work on one of them. It was pretty challenging. They had to actually take the motor out and went through it, and gosh, we put clutches, and I bought the clutches since they got about 400,000 on them, and they went ahead and recommended the soft pedal clutch, and we put the clutches in them, and uh, then they've gone through and checked all the oil leaks, fixed the oil leaks, and there's something, I forget exactly what it was, something on the oil pump or some one of the oiling mechanisms that has been giving trouble and then recalled a lot, and they've fixed those, and a couple of crankshaft issues and everything that they kind of did. So I'm pleased with the work we've got done. Hopefully we'll be in. Yeah, that's right. That's what we use. We use that a good bit. We've got some others we use in some of the day cabs, but the Easy Pedal is usually the one we order and get that, and a little more expensive than some of the others. But well, my hair's sticking out over there. uh, but yeah, we try to use that Easy Pedal. It's easy. Uh, yeah, yeah. We've been trying to challenge all, let them check everything we can on that. We feel pretty comfortable. Right now, we're going through and putting all new belts and hoses, and we put all new airbags on them, and brake chambers. We do a lot of work that the average person doesn't do on their trucks, because I want it to be right when it gets out on the road, because it's a heck of a lot cheaper for me to spend some money on it right now than put it on the road and it break, and then I got road calls, and don't want one like I had last week. Had a one of the drivers that ran one out of fuel. Cost me $300 to have the service truck go a mile and a half to put fuel in the truck, and yeah, that's the way it goes. Yeah, yeah, we we feel like we're pretty good on what we need to do on that, Matt. Uh, it's a challenge to stay on top of it, and usually the biggest challenge is to make sure that my drivers just do their you know preventative maintenance. I mean, a preventive pre-check and everything. Yeah, yeah, it was 300, not 800. Yeah, it was only a mile and a half. They charge you mileage. I forgot what it was they charge you, and they charge you a minimum amount of fuel they'll put in it and that sort of stuff. But yeah, it cost me right at $300 to get a few gallons of fuel put back in it so he could drive back to the truck stop. I was not too happy with that driver, and then I've been not too happy on a couple of things, but that's the way it goes. Had a driver that got caught in the left lane in the gorge this week. He got a warning ticket, but there's CSA violations with that, and he did not realize that that was going to cost me uh, safety points with FedEx. So I lose 3 cents a mile on that truck for 3 months. Now that doesn't sound like much to them, but that's several $1,000s for me that I'm gonna lose on that particular truck because of his stupidity. No, you can't do it. And he said, well, I ran up on this truck and it was going so slow. I said, I don't care. I don't care if it's almost dead stop. You're gonna stay behind that truck in the gorge because they're waiting there to get you. I said, especially between mile markers 7 and 15 on the North Carolina side. It's been that way for 40 years. Don't do it. And the main thing is, I mean, we got FedEx huge on the side of our trailer, and if the cops, I mean, and the guy said, oh, well, there was two or three others that passed, they didn't get them. I said, well, no, think about it. Those guys probably had some plain Jane looking sign on their trailer and truck or whatever. This cop, he sees FedEx blow by. Well, which one can he remember the easiest? Us. FedEx. We got a billboard. FedEx. Huge. Side of a barn. You know. And that's what you get. These guys don't think. It's not their truck. It's not their money. So they don't care. But they are getting, he will have some CSA violations that's going to stick to his, oh, I know it. We're rolling billboards for sure on those FedEx trucks. I mean, you don't get any bigger billboard than what we've got. And it's easy for cops to see us. So, and like I told him, I said, you know, yeah, and it's plain and, yeah, just like you're saying, Brian, it's plain and simple. It's written on the road. It's written all over the road, all the signs, everything. No trucks in the left lane. It doesn't say unless you run across somebody that's slow. Yeah, yeah, I know it. I ought to do just that, Tim. I ought to take it out of the check. But what do we got? We got drivers. I'm strapped for good drivers right now. And then if I were to do that, then a driver said, well, I'll just quit. I'll go to some other contractor. I'll do something else. And that's what you get. I mean, the boy's actually a good driver. He's prompt. He does his job. But it's stupidity. And, you know, I don't know if I would get anybody any better if I were to let him go. Yeah, that's what I should do. I should cut his pay 3 cents a mile till he, you know, until this is over. And I'm going to put it into rules. I'm sick and tired of it. I'm gonna tell these guys, you know, if you cost me money, I'm gonna take it out of your check. You know, it's not my fault that you did that. It's your fault. And that's the part that's really upsetting is the fact that, you know, I pay for all the damages on these trucks, and I've had several. I had a boy that flipped a hood up and broke a hinge on a truck this week, and crushed some of the fiberglass on it. I mean, he, you know, get in a hurry or whatever. I don't know, but I'm gonna have to pay for that. It doesn't hit my insurance on but it does get me on a the CSA. I think that's I think I'm saying it right. CSA points on the violation. I mean, he got a warning ticket. He didn't get a speeding ticket. They said on the warning ticket 5 to 10 miles an hour over the speed limit and left lane violation, but warning. So he thought he was off scot-free because he got a warning ticket, he didn't get a fine. But those CSA violations are there. And, oh, it was a warning, but still, the CSA violations still go through. And FedEx charges me because they got hit those points. The Federal Motor Carriers Association, whatever it is, you know, they charge FedEx back on those points, and FedEx turns right around and charges me back, and it's in our contract. If you get hit with those CSA points, you'll lose your safety bonus on that truck, 3.5 cents per mile for 3 months. So, you know, I mean I can do the math here right quick. What is it? I have to figure it, but that particular truck. Okay, it runs, where's my calculator? Right there. It runs 2,200 miles a week, and it's going to be 12 weeks. So that's 26,400 miles times 0.035. It's going to be right at $1,000 out of my pocket. Right at $1,000. So I mean, very upsetting. Very upsetting. I mean, that's $1,000 that I won't be getting because of his stupidity. Yeah, I know it, and that's the rules of it. Even though that was a not a ticket, the officer could have ticketed him for that too. I mean, and that's a heck of a fine through the gorge. I think it's about a $300 fine for being in the left lane. And then if they tack on speeding on top of that, which they said he was doing 5 to 10 miles an hour over, and he said, "Well, I wasn't doing that much." I said, "What do you mean you wasn't doing?" He said, "Well, that guy was doing about 50, and I passed him." I said, "If he was doing 50, he was doing the speed limit. What are you doing passing him?" "Well, he was just going slow. I usually run 55 through here." I said, "Well, you need to quit that too." I said, "The speed limit says 50. It does not say 55." And he said, "Well, I can go 5 over and get away with it." I said, "Well, no, you can't either." Uh, they're strict. They're strict in that gorge, and I can't I can't pound it with a hammer into these guys' heads. And if that had been the first one that happened, I know in the past 3 to 4 years, that's probably the fourth or fifth guy that I've had, and even my line haul manager today, I told him, he said, "Yeah," he said, "he ran up on a slow truck and fell out to pass it." He says, "Can't these boys be more creative?" He said, "That's the same daggum answer I get from everybody on that." Yeah, I know it, and that's the whole purpose. I mean, they have so many rollovers through the gorge. They know that 50 miles an hour is the safe speed. And a couple of spots, it's even lower. It's 45, I think, in that one curve. When it goes down at Tennessee, it gets down to 40 or 45 because it's sharp. It goes down and actually leans the wrong way because uh, that I mean, if you're on the uh, eastbound side, you're all right. But if you're on the westbound side, that one particular curve down there, right at Waterville, it comes down and actually leans to the left, and there you are trying to cut back to the right. And I've seen guys almost lose it there. I've seen guys lose it there. I hadn't actually physically seen them lose it, but I've seen the results of people flipping it over, or you know. And when they flip one in the gorge, it shuts it down. It's gone. It's you're Katie bar to the door. It's not like, well, I'll just go through here. No, you won't. There's nothing but pig paths off the gorge. I mean, you can get off some of those little small roads, and you couldn't take a set of doubles through there. I mean, you're talking going around a curve that if you went around the curve, you'd cut it so sharp you'd see the rear end of your trailer. That's right. There is no way out of you. If you get caught in the gorge with it shut down, you're caught in the gorge and you're shut down. That's all there is to it. You could be there 2 hours. You could be there 10 hours, and I've seen it happen before. And I've had drivers that got challenged and got stuck back behind that. Usually, I mean, the good thing about it, I have multiple drivers going up through there, and if there is a backup one way or the other, we try to communicate good and call ahead and call the other drivers and make sure that we get the information back and forth. Although the bad thing about it is cell service is tough in the gorge. I mean, it's spotty, so you'll have a hard time. But that's the good thing. I got 6 trucks that go up through there every day, and they go at different times too. I've got 2 that leave out about 4 o'clock in the morning and get up there probably to the gorge around 7 in the morning, and then I have some that leave at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they get up there probably 9:30 at 10, and then I've got one that leaves about 9 o'clock and goes up through there and he'll get up there maybe close to noon. So it's a variety. Well, Knoxville, yeah, basically, yeah, they go to, we call it East Knoxville because they're going right to Strawberry Plains Truck Stop. It's where they get off at. They get off at the Strawberry Plains Truck Stop. A couple of them do, and then I've got a couple that go on up to Caryville, up above Knoxville. They go up. You get up and hit. You go on 640 over to 75, and then 75 north, like you're going to Kentucky, and go up that direction, and yep, go up 75, and right before you, yeah, you can tell I'm getting sleepy. Right before you get to the big part of going up the hill, uh, there's a truck stop there, right at Caryville, Carryville, right beyond Rocky Top. Rocky Top, you'll see the sign, Rocky Top, Tennessee, and Caryville's right up above Rocky Top, and you can that we get off there at like I said at the Pilot truck stop, switch out, meet one of them meets a team out of Chicago. Actually, both of them meet teams. We got two different terminals. One of them goes to well, it's not a distribution center. It's a what they call a meet point. You know, we just swap trailers. Is all we do. We go to the truck stop, and see they do that all over the United States. That's one of the things that FedEx does. I mean, you'll say if you're leaving Memphis, Tennessee, headed toward Nashville, then you might well that's not a good example because they'll go all the way into Nashville. But say we've got say team drivers that run from Memphis, Tennessee, and then maybe come toward Greensboro, and then they may meet around East Knoxville, like I said, and that's generally the way we do stuff like that. They'll come from Memphis, we'll come from Greensboro, we meet over at East Knoxville halfway, and but that way we can turn around and head back. Sometimes it's a team, and like these Caryville runs, that's a Chicago team that meets us coming down. Now the ones over at East Knoxville, we got Nashville drivers coming over to Knoxville, and then we've got Northern Kentucky, basically right there down below. Northern Kentucky is right there at Cincinnati. So but it's in the Kentucky side, and we call it Northern Kentucky, and it's basically come from Cincinnati down to East Knoxville, and we're coming from Charlotte going back up to East Knoxville, and then we meet, and then they turn around and come back. Both of them have about a 250-mile run each way, you know, or 200, actually not even 250, 220 I think, or 210, something like that on those. And then the Caryville runs about 260 miles each way. So my guys get pretty good mileage, and pretty good situation on those. I've got those going to Tennessee. Then of course I got a lot of southern runs too. That's the ones I like, but I'd rather have all southern runs. I don't mind the Tennessee runs too much, but these mountains do challenge trucks a lot worse. I mean, you'll end up losing more turbos and injectors and everything. It seems like, I mean, a truck, when a truck can get out on the road and it can just cruise, and it's not under a strain, and it's not putting too much boost to it, it'll run so much smoother, so much cooler, everything else. But when you got one and you got 80,000 pounds behind it, and you're pulling Black Mountain or Saluda or Jellicoe or some of these other mountains, oh, it's a challenge. It's a challenge, and then when that turbo is whining tight, and when that I mean, every element of that motor, I mean, it's designed to do it. Don't get me wrong, it's designed, but it's a challenge, and if it does it day in and day out, it wears on that truck way more than one that's running down the road flat. I mean, basically, that's what my ones going to Georgia and everything else. They're rolling. I mean, they're on a flat land. They hit a little hill that's not much of anything. That little boost won't go up in that truck, but just a little bit. Not much of a challenge. But you get these others. I mean, you can imagine that boost is at the max. And these drivers, they're gonna peg it to the floor. They're gonna do whatever it will do. If that truck will do 95, they'll run it 95. If it'll run 65 is all it'll do, they're gonna have it pegged at 65. So whatever you got your truck set at, that's what these drivers are gonna run it at. I don't, no, 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 sir. No Colorado runs for me. I've had those runs. I've had those. I want regional runs. That's the reason my drivers are in and out every day from Charlotte area, or the Savannah area. I don't want, I don't need Colorado. I don't need Colorado or California. You've got to look at my situation, and I've had them. I used to have some Memphis runs, and even that is a challenge too, because that gets too far out. Because I try to get mine located. Uh, yeah, well, that's what I mean. Yeah, yeah, that challenge in itself. But my thing is, I just don't want that far out. I mean, we've got a lot of guys that got Denver runs, and they like them. You know, some of them like them. I mean, but you've got to have very good equipment to do that. I'm very modern. I mean, new equipment, because you're gonna wear it out quickly. If you have if you have those situations where you're running California. Hey, Greg, how are you doing? Um, if if you're running California or Colorado, Salt Lake City, you know, Denver, Washington State, all these things. No, I don't have anybody. The, FedEx has them, but we don't. I don't. No, all my runs are regional. Every single one of mine. Like the furthest I go north is Beckley, West Virginia. Well, no, in Lexington, Virginia. I got Lexington, Virginia. I got a couple runs to go to Beckley, West Virginia. I've got 6 or 7, like I say, to go to Knoxville, Tennessee, or Caryville, Tennessee. I've got several Atlanta runs from Charlotte to Atlanta and back. I've got Savannah runs. I've got Savannah running right now. I've got Savannah running to Atlanta, and I got Savannah running to Charlotte, and I got then I have Charlotte to Savannah, and Charlotte to Richmond Hill, which is down below Savannah, and Charlotte to Charleston, and Charlotte to Lumberton, and on and so on. That's the multiples that I. That's the kind of running that we do. I don't want to get into the challenge of going out to California, or the challenge of going out to like Denver and all that. It's more profitable for me to keep this regional, because Matt, I don't know if Matt's still on or not, but he'll tell you right quick. I mean, it's way more expensive for this to be repaired on the road than it is to repair it in my shop. I mean, my guys are making good money in my shop, but these outside vendors, boy, they'll burn you a new one. They will burn you a new one, and they know they have you. They got a captive audience. If your truck breaks down, it's in their shop. You're not 99% of the time. You're not going to take it out of their shop. Now you could do it, but it's going to cost you a bunch, because first off, they're going to hit you for some sort of diagnostic. They're going to hit you for something for just it being in their shop. But generally speaking, you're going to be at their mercy, and you're going to be anywhere from 120 or 110 to 125, 145. I've seen all kinds of rates per hour on that truck. And the problem is with that, you don't know how many hours they actually do. Now they're going to bill you book rate probably, and if it says that it takes 3 hours to put on an alternator, they can do it in 30 minutes. You're still going to pay that 3 hours. I mean, you're going to pay that rate, and it may have an alternator, it may have something else. It may have 4 or 5 things that actually the book, if you was to add them up in a cumulative way, the book may say it takes 12 hours to fix it. Well, the mechanic might fix it in 7 or 6, and you're still going to pay that 12. Well, that's 12 times 130, 40, and then they're going to have all kind of little service fees on there. They're going to have shop maintenance fees. They're going to have whatever. I've seen things that I really question sometimes, but it's the way these bigger shops and some of these shops get you, and you don't have the luxury of quality control, and that's the biggest thing for me. I mean, I've had things fixed in other shops, And you would think that it was good. You're hoping that it's good. And then when you go behind them, it's, it's just patched. They want to get you in, get you out, get you gone. And there's not a lot you can do to challenge it. I mean, I've had a few that I've tried to challenge over the years, but it's sort of in vain. It's very, very hard to oh God, you guys, you got to excuse my yawning. It's very, very hard to get anything back from these shops. I mean, you can do it, you can fight it, but most of them know that they're sort of unchallengeable because they've been doing it so long. They know the system. They know what they can get by with. If they lose you and you're an outside, if you're a customer, and this I think this is the mentality. If you're a customer that they know that they're only get once in a blue moon, they don't care. You're not going to have the customer service that you would on a local shop or your shop, and that's the reason I do the business the way I do it. Whereas, like I said, a lot of people are dependent and don't have their own shop, and they're dependent on just you know the challenges of what's out there. I tell you what, guys, I'm sleepy. I guess y'all see me yawn. I'm gonna get out of here. Enjoyed chatting with everybody. Matt, if you're still in there, give me a buzz. You can call me right now if you want to. I'm gonna get off of here so I can get back to bed and get some rest for in the morning because I've got a lot of challenges ahead of me for tomorrow also. So, guys, I'll see you later. Enjoyed chatting with you. Y'all take care.